Hi, and welcome to The Success Rate. I'm Thuli Magubane. This is where we talk about success and different people's journey to success. And everyone has their own version of what success is. Joining us today is Mr. Nthato Mashishi. He is a veteran in the beauty industry. I think today we have so many makeup artists doing well because he was a trailblazer in the industry. He's worked with celebrities both locally and internationally. He's worked on big covers, including Vogue. Gotta hear more about that, what that was like. And of course, I mean, we wouldn't be here, with the face beat if it wasn't for men like Nthato. Welcome, Nthato.
Thank you for having me.
It's only a pleasure. It's only a pleasure. And as I said, you're a trailblazer in this industry.
I don't get used to the name. I think because we come from an era where we're so humble.
Yes, yeah.
And we had to fight a lot. And when they call you all these names, they give you all these awards, sometimes you ask yourself, you're like, me?
This is really me.
Okay.
Okay.
But I'm taking it.
And you're taking it in your own stride.
Yes.
So when you were growing up, who was your favorite cartoon character?
It was Mickey. No. I'm lying. Before Mickey Mouse, it was Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
Which one, Tom or Jerry?
Who was the mouse?
The mouse, isn't that Tom? I don't know.
I forgot.
But you love Tom and Jerry.
Age. Yeah, I love Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
Before I went to school, I remember I used to watch on SABC 1. I used to watch Tom and Jerry before we went to school with my twin brother.
Yeah.
So that was my start of the day.
Your favorite. So and then when you see Tom and Jerry now, does it bring back good memories?
No, it does. It does. I mean, even things like music, I get into those memorabilia things, at 2 days ago, I was looking at my old pictures and all of that. I like to reminisce, to take back myself to that space and said, what was I thinking at that age? And compared to now. So those are my me time.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's my me time things that I do.
So taking us back, I mean, you grew up in Alexander.
Yes.
And you first got into hair. And I suppose as Black people, we've always been into hair. But makeup was something new. So tell us about your exploration and your journey getting into the makeup industry.
Well, yes, you're right. I started with hair, and I started when I was still at school. I was freelancing. Now they call it freelancing. I mean, at that time, I was hustling because at home, the situation I could see at home that, the situation has taken a dip, when you come from a family where everything was given to you in a silver tray, and everything just starting to fall apart. Mom is going through her stresses. Dad is going through his stresses. Things are not the same. We used to have nannies at those days. We used to have drivers taking us to school. And everything we're just losing everything like that. And then the nicest thing is a calling. I had a calling, which is, I think I was attracted mostly to arts more than anything.
Yes.
Because I think when I see beauty, something in me just ignites. And at that time, then I would start, like nyenza abantwana babo makhelwane, inwele, and do that. And then after that, during my school holidays, I would go to a local salon, ask for jobs, and then ask and do those odd jobs.
Yes, yeah.
And then after those odd jobs, what I knew is yimi loyo sebenza ngama weekends now. And I'm not playing like other kids. I play with adults' heads.
You play with heads, yeah.
Because I'm washing their heads, like as just to make money, to have an extra money. I think for me, it was a young shire in a way that I wanted to stand up for myself and say, you know what? I took a vow and said, I don't know. I tasted being poor. We remember we come from middle class. We're doing very well. And then the next thing, boom, we go to Ugba poor. Then I was like, nope.
This is not it.
This is not it. But let me roll up my sleeves. Like I've rolled up my sleeves, Namanja, literally.
Yes.
You know, we're still rolling the sleeves in this life. And then I did that.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
So was it difficult convincing your parents that, what started off as just a weekend thing and play was going to be your full-time career?
It was difficult, but at the same time, I find that my parents, they were in a very weird space at that time. But still, they were still like your old Black parents that would say, when you tell them, I want to do hair, I want to go into arts and stuff, they were very not sure about it. Because remember that time where we come from, it was, you need to be a doctor, to be a nurse, to be a policeman, to be in office or do something.
Yeah.
So they didn't think that this was a lucrative business and this was a career more than anything.
Yes,
so I had to convince them, that this is what I feel that I'm attracted to and I'm good at what I can at that. And I remember when I was still at school, after school, I wanted to do a cosmetology course, which is a hair course.
Yes.
And my father said, your hair thing, it won't pay. It won't pay for bills. And then I did that. I didn't finish my course at the technical college in Alex. And then afterwards, I enrolled for a human resource degree. And after my human resource degree, I didn't know what I was putting myself into. 3 years of studying.
Yeah. Wow, 3 years. So
I was like, this is not me. Because the arts was, the beauty thing was still there.
And it was calling.
Yeah, it was calling. And then after I finished my degree, I said to my father, here's your degree. I mean, I'm following my heart now. That's when I started my makeup course. And when I started my makeup course, I was working at a local salon in Alex, and I was doing part-time. And then the makeup course was calling me to be full-time at school. And at that time, I studied with Black Like Me Cosmetics.
Yes, okay.
It was called, Beauty Palace. It was in Commissioner Street in Johannesburg.
And Commissioner Street looked very different.
Yeah, now I saw it the other day. It looked so different. So it was there. And I had to, enroll and do it full time and work part time at the salon. And because I always wanted to get into the beauty space, and I could feel that I can do something that it's more than what I was doing. And the nicest thing again that I remember is around Alex, I did performing arts. And I did fine arts in a community center and all of that. But I was gravitating to art, beauty of art or art towards beauty, well, whatever way you see it. And that's why this thing has always been inside me. This fire was always burning of like, this is where you belong. Why don't you follow what you belong? Because you feel happy when you're there.
Doing that. And then getting your first agent, how did you do that? How was that journey?
Getting my first agent, it was very, very, very tough. I remember I was headhunted. When I was at school, the producer for Yizo at that time. Yizo was the biggest production in South Africa.
Yes.
And she came and she was doing, so when we're doing practicals, we'd train with people. People would come in with train with real people, but they would train you with skin, teach you how to do the facials and whatever before makeup and stuff like that. And I remember I was excited. Now I was touching makeup. And I said to the lady, no, she said she was going to an event that night.
I see, yeah.
And then I said to her, no, now I do make it. Now I'm allowed to touch makeup now. Let me show you what I can do on your face after I've done your facials. And then she's like, no, I'm not a makeup person, man. What? Don't, no, you will see, I will do it nicely, And then I convinced her and I did her face. How in the evening, same night, I got a call from her. Hi, how are you? You remember me? I'm so and so. Oh, yes. How's Desiree? How are you? I'm good. Hey, everybody, so excited for me that I look so good. They said you've turned an ugly duckling into a beautiful princess,
Yeah.
Anyway, everybody loves your work. They love your work that they want to have you on set. I'm like, on set of what? No, where I work, you remember I told you I work for Bomb at Yizo. And then they were shooting a music video. I remember my first work, we were shooting a music video for Tembi Siete and Wanda Baloi. It's blow me nice, Nabo nice.
Yes.
We're shooting next week Friday. I'm like, but no, I'm still at school. I can't, whatever. And then she's like, my production, whatever. My production person will call you. He dropped the call. And I was like, I've never been on set. I don't know what I'm going to do. And then, yes, they called me. They arranged and they fetched me. We're shooting in Davidton because the series was shot in Davidton. So they were shooting the soundtrack. It was a soundtrack for the Yizo, yes. So we're shooting there. On set, they were very accommodating with me and they showed me the ropes. And of course, there was a lead makeup artist for the series who was there to overlook everything. And I remember Tembi just said to me, relax, do your thing. We heard so much about you. We've seen your work. Even Wanda, they held my hand. I did it and I survived the day. And after that, that's when I started searching for an agency. And the reason why I started searching for an agency, I used to read True Love magazine. I used to put it inside my books. And then
so it looks like you're studying, but you're reading the magazine.
Yeah, I'm reading the magazine. Then I see your Sadiq.
Yes.
I see your Faith Suwe.
Yes.
And I'm like, hey, I want to be like these people, But I see them, they write their agencies from professional bookings. Where's professional bookings? Then I start asking everybody, where's professional bookings? At that time, there was no Google.
I was about to say, there was no internet those days.
Yeah, there was no Google. It was like, where is this thingy? Then I stumbled by it. It was in Rosebank. It was around Rosebank and the address was written. And then I had to write that address and I went there. And when I went there to try to have them, have me in their books, it was such a struggle because those times as a young black man or as a black person, it was taboo to be a makeup artist, to be a hairstylist on sets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was only whites that were on sets. And it was so hard to get into there. And remember, they've signed the two people that I love, which is Sadiq and Faith Suwe. And I was like, in my heart, I said, I belong in this table. I want to be in this table.
So how did you convince them to get you onto the books?
They kept on saying no, and then I kept on coming. And then one day they said to me, okay, can you come with your kit? Do you have they started saying, do you have a portfolio? And I said, what's a portfolio? And then they looked at me like I was mad.
So how did you convince them to put you on their books?
Well, it was a very hard road for me to convince them because they didn't allow, at that time, black people were not allowed. It was taboo to see especially a young, I was very you can tell I was still slim, young, thin, hungry.
Yeah.
And they looked at us. I mean, it was only whites who were on sets, and black people, it was taboo to see black people on sets. So, and the state of our country as well, where we come from and stuff. So, but because I believe that I belong in that table, I kept on knocking. I kept on coming to Rosebank to knock on their doors, and they're like, "Okay, please come with your kit, and then we'll tell you why." It's in the office space.
Yeah.
With the bookers. Come with my kit that Monday morning, and then the next thing, Babiza Usisi from the kitchen.
Oh, Menzi, here, right now.
Yeah, can you do Sisi from the kitchen? And Sisi doesn't, you've got Abanyabo Sisi, they don't look after their skin and stuff, pimples, all that and whatever. And then I started doing my thing. I'm sitting there. They're busy sitting on their computers, doing what they do. They're doing their bookings, talking to clients. Now I feel like I'm ignored. I'm like, but why these people are ignoring me when they're supposed to be looking at what I'm doing? Gandhi, it was a tactic of just ukungibonisa, ukungibhayizisa ukuthi, do you know what you're doing?
Yes,
And can you stand in these hard times? If you get on set and that happens. I didn't know at that time. I got to know about it later. And then the next thing I'm going around this bed skin, and then I had to do it very nicely and whatever. And I see them. The other one goes to the kitchen to do a coffee, and then he looks at like, nice. And then after, when I'm done, everybody was so happy. Was like, wow. And then that's when my booker just said to me, "We are signing you right now. And you know why we're signing you? We gave you a bad skin, and we gave you somebody that doesn't know any makeup. And we kept on irritating you. We were going up and down about our business and whatever, and you survived that.
Yes.
So you are the person for
test.
this. Yes, you passed the test, actually." And then that's when they signed me right there and then. And I remember now, I don't know contracts. I'm alone. I'm given this document. Big mistake.
Did you just sign without reading the contract?
Hey.
Oof.
Jabula Joe.
Yes, yeah.
Put my signature.
If you have a contract, yes, yeah.
Then they give me the copy, and then I go home with the copy, told the parents. I'm signed with professional bookings. I remember my parents at that time, because they were going through their stresses, they didn't care. And then my first job with them, it was, what was my first job? My first job was a magazine cover.
Big job.
Yeah, it was a magazine cover. That was huge.
Yes, yeah.
I was like, magazine. I was reading this True Love magazine all the time. Unfortunately, it wasn't True Love. At that time, it was Jerry Ranseri had a magazine, Soul magazine.
Yes,
It was a Christian magazine. And then they gave me that cover. And then they said to me, in the industry, who would you love to work with? They were asking me, my book, who would you like to work with? And I said, I would love to work with Pasitsana Khumalo. And they said to me, when I got that cover, and they said, you would want to do this cover when they called me.
Yes.
You would want to do this cover. I'm like, why? Because the cover starts
Pasitsana Khumalo. Yes, yeah. And that's how I actually got to know you through Basi, because I suppose you can tell us how the relationship developed. But I think with Basi, I think she was quite instrumental.
Yes,
in introducing you to the broader market. Yes.
Absolutely. I'll be forever, grateful to her, because I remember when we met on set. I still even have a picture that we took on set. And I was trembling. Because remember, Basi, she's always been baked,
Yes,
Basi.
yeah.
And I was trembling and I was like, I didn't know what to do and stuff like that and whatever, and what to say and to behave, even though I've passed this test. And then the next thing, Basi comes in, I could hear her voice. She was loud. She was smiling. She was laughing with the photographer. She was happy with everybody. And I remember when she met me, when we lock our eyes, something sparked that day.
Yes.
I remember very, 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 very well, vividly. And after that, and then they introduced her to me, and then she was happy. And then when we were working with Basi in the makeup room, they said to us, apparently the photographer and everybody, they said, we're listening to you. It felt like you guys know each other
from forever. Yes, yeah.
Because we were talking about, I don't know what we were talking about, but I know we were talking about general things and stuff like that. Because I was born in Soweto, and I grew up in Alex because the parents moved to Alex. And maybe that's where it came from. I remember we spoke about that because she was from Soweto and stuff like that. And I was trying to milk everything from her, like her wisdom and stuff like that. But we were just talking about general stuff. But I knew in my mind that I was trying to know that I'm trying to milk the success that she has,
Yes, yeah.
and all these encounters that she's having. And apparently, if you would be outside, you would hear, these people, it's an old friends,
yes,
no ways. Guess what? Basi, after that, loved exactly what I did on her. And then she offered me a job on Top Billing. Top Billing was one of my biggest dream jobs because I used to sit in front of TV. Remember, Top Billing was huge. I used to sit in front of TV, fantasize, look at all these big houses, look at them traveling with Bo Eshla and Michael Mall and say, ooh, I wish one day I can live in a house like this, travel like them, go overseas and do this and whatever. And especially I wanted to go to New York, my first trip. And then when Basi said that, I saw my dreams
coming true
right in front of my face. And I remember I couldn't answer her. And I remember somebody on set said, no, Basi, he means yes. And I said, because I was like, and it says, come and see me. I remember we're shooting on Monday. It was on Tuesday. Can you come and see me at this address? Their offices were in Marentia. Come and see me.
I remember.
And then let's talk. And then I went, and then I met the partner, Patient Stevens. And then we spoke. And then when we spoke, and then Basi offered me a contract again, didn't sign.
Oh, didn't read, just sign.
Didn't read, final lines, but it was okay. But luckily, it was a straightforward thing. It wasn't like that, like the professional bookings one. It was like not complicated. 1 page and working times, money and stuff and whatever. It wasn't like complicated. Then Thursday, I was booked on my first job. And I remember when I was booked on my first job, you remember there was this guy who was, we shot at his house in Ilovo. He was a Vodacom face. I forgot his name. He was a white guy.
White guy.
Yeah. Before the black guy.
Before Prof.
Before Prof. Yes. Okay. Before Omo something.
Omotoso.
Omotoso.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Before Omotoso, there was a white guy who was the face of the thing, and we're shooting in his house. So I was in this space that I never thought that I would be in. I'm shooting in this big celebrity house. I'm shooting with these big people for a big show. And yeah, it was a drilling session, but at the same time I had to hold it inside because I always said, remember when we started the conversation, I said, I belong in this table.
Yes, yeah.
Which is a table of what? Of arts industry.
Yes.
Which is beauty. And I said, this is the way to do it because my dreams are coming true.
Okay. So I'd like to know from you, what's your definition of success?
My definition of success is listening to your heart. Believe what your heart tells you. But remember, between heart and mind, they can play games. Sometimes they play games with you. And I like to believe my heart all the time. And my definition of success is when my heart it's booming with fire. And again, my definition of success is making sure that I work hard at it. I don't just let that fire burn within me, but I work at my fire to make sure that I ignite my fire and keep on my fire burning all the time. That's my definition of success.
And the biggest myth around success?
The biggest myth is you're thinking that a miracle will just come and fall on top of you and all will be fine. You live your dreams. I believe that you work towards your dreams and nothing falls out of the sky and just phezu kwakho. But yes, some of the things they will fall while you've started the journey of success. Because with success, remember, there'll be rain, there'll be sun, there'll be all these seasons, and you need to know that you stand firm within that success of these seasons. And remember again, success comes with a lot of things. Temptations, money, travel, glitz and glam, spotlight, things that you've never been seen before, and even substances.
True, yeah. And being in the entertainment industry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
You see it everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Nthato, you mentioned seasons, that there's ups and downs, there's sunshine, there's rain. And in life, you find yourself in those down seasons and those down times. How do you motivate yourself to continue when you are, you're right there at the bottom?
How do I motivate myself when I'm on the down season? Is remember, not only corporates, even with us, you create relationships. And luckily, what I would do is I would pick up that phone, knock on those doors, put my tail in between my legs. And even people who are successful will tell you that, your Ruperts, your whatever, because one of the things that I do is I read success stories of people, how brands are made and whatever. And you hear that, they had to, it doesn't stop, working hard, even though you see them, owning things, looking good from the outside, but you still have to do the dirty work and, roll up your sleeves. So I think it's part of rolling the sleeves and being humble and just saying, you know what, I want to do this. Let me, knock on those doors. And that's what I do.
Okay, so we have a feature called the Fire 5 questions. So it's just quick questions that are fun.
Okay.
And you don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about it.
Okay.
All right. So I think maybe I might know the answer to this one because you mentioned it's one of your favorite movies. But anyway, who would you choose? Meryl Streep in The Devil Wears Prada or Sarah Jessica Parker in Sex and the City, and why? Don't think. I said don't just...
Okay. It's just that you gave me two of my favorites.
Exactly.
Yeah. Meryl Streep in Devil Wears Prada.
Okay. Are you one of those people that makes New Year's resolutions?
Nope.
Okay. So you don't bother because no one ever keeps them anyway.
I start on when the year it's towards the end.
Yeah. All right. And how do you answer the phone?
I look at who's calling me.
And then when you pick up, what do you say?
It depends who's calling me.
So, okay. So if it's a friend?
If it's a friend, it depends what kind of a friend, because there's some friends who like to be formal. There's friends who like to be informal.
Okay.
You know? So it depends.
Okay, sure. And do you believe in ghosts?
Yes, I do.
Have you ever experienced?
Oh, yes.
Had an encounter with a ghost?
Yes.
Where? Tell us.
Remember, because we travel a lot and we sleep in hectic places, we work in different sites and whatever. I remember we were somewhere in Mpumalanga, and I believe that place was haunted because the lights kept on going on and off, but the main switch was on. And that's when, and I could feel that my hair mover was like standing. But because I'm a prayer warrior, I prayed.
And how many keys do you have in your keyring?
How many?
Keys do you have in your keyring?
In a keyring, I've got different keyrings.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I've got only one key, which is my car key. And then I've got my house key. It's one in my car.
So you just keep one, you're not one.
One, yes.
Also munching a line
No. Because I think because I'm slim and can imagine putting something in my pocket. And sometimes I don't like holding a bag because of, Joburg. I can pull that bag and run with it, because sometimes we shoot in different, or I go to different places, I'm not saying that it's a dangerous place, but you can be anywhere in the world, you can be mugged.
True.
Mm-hmm. So I rather to have things
it's very flat.
Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned that you read. So what is one book that changed your life perspective or mindset? You read that book and it was like, wow. You had a lot of aha moments and it changed how you see life.
I think the book that I read that really changed my mind is, I forgot the author. I was given it to by Lentozanan Peltusi when I bought my house, my latest house. And it is called The Power of Silence. And it's got quotes where it gives you sort of like when you feel like you're in a turmoil. And I go to that book, I read it over and over again because the quotes, they sort of like show you the light at the end of the tunnel and it sort of make you believe in yourself with those quotes. And then there's the other one, I think it's happiness and something. I forgot the name of it. Sometimes I start books and then I leave them all over. I'm that kind of a person. It's about this, the sheikh that built Dubai. And he tells you exactly how Dubai was built and the hard work that he had to put, the convincing that he has to do with the British colony and convincing and believing in him and believing in the nation.
Yeah.
But mostly it's about believing in him and getting that superpower within himself.
So you seem to have succeeded in manifesting what you want out of life. I mean, what advice would you give to someone in terms of just how they manifest, their ideal life?
Yes, all of us, we are dreamers. God has given us that power of dreaming, but you got to do something about it. You can't just, remember I said to you, I've always had this fire within me, but I kept on lighting this fire because sometimes that fire goes off. And what makes you stand out of the rest is you got to make this fire keep on burning. You must burn it. You must get a matches somewhere or a lighter somewhere.
To ignite that fire.
To ignite the fire. Yes, it's not an easy thing to say it. It might be very hard. I mean, I was lucky that I traveled the world at a tender age through top billing, through whatever that I did, and work with most of the biggest stars in my life, Hollywood stars, everyone, you name it. But it doesn't mean that you will stay there forever.
Yes, yeah.
And then it comes, especially with COVID as well. COVID taught us that everything can just end like this. And that's where it's either you take it in a bad way or it's in a right way. But Mina, I like to take COVID in a right way because it has taught us, it has taught us a lot of things to think about ourselves, to be in tune with ourselves, because we were just going and going and going. It's like in a supermarket, I would go and buy stuff and not even thinking about them and thinking about what I'm putting in my basket. These nowadays, you think about what you put in your basket because of I don't know, it's because of the economy has changed, or we are in this changing season as well, and everything is changing. We are conscious now of how we spend our money and where does our money goes, and how do we preserve our success as well.
And your relationship with money, how has it evolved over the years?
I've always had a healthy, successful relationship with money, I must say. Even though I love extravagant things, I like to spoil myself.
What's the most expensive item that you own in your wardrobe?
What's the most expensive item that I own in my wardrobe? I'm a collector of a lot of things. I think my most expensive thing that I own in my house, it's a last painting by Picasso that I found in my travels.
Yes.
That's the most expensive.
So you own
an
original Picasso.
Picasso.
Not many people can say that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a most expensive thing
piece.
Because it doesn't depreciate. It values with money. And I love paintings. But with clothes, I think, I don't know, I can't put, with clothes these nowadays, clothes have become so tedious. As things are changing, clothes are tedious. But I'm a collector of watches as well, even though I don't wear them.
I can see you're not wearing one.
And then I'm a collector of jewelry. As you can see, my diamonds. And then I'm a collector of shoes. I've got a closet full of shoes for days. I can wear shoes for 5 years.
I suppose those are some of the fruits of success. But as we wrap up, when you reflect on your own life and your own journey, I mean, as I said, you are one of the trailblazers in the makeup industry. How would you like to be remembered?
How would I like to be remembered? I'd like to be remembered that I've really, really lived my truth, and I've occupied spaces where no man could occupy. And when I was in those spaces, I made sure that I paved ways for other young Black people that are coming after me. That's how I would like to be remembered all the time. Because in this industry, one day you're in, one day you're out. And if you don't leave your legacy in some form or another way, especially occupying those spaces anywhere in the world.
Yes.
No one will know about you 100 years from now or 200 years from now. But somebody will read about me, the footprint that I've put in America, the footprint that I've put in Africa, the footprint that I've put in Australia, the footprint that I've put in Japan. Somebody will get to find what I did. But I come from the humble beginnings of the dusty streets of Alex, being born in Soweto.
Yes, yeah.
But I've touched all these kind of life endeavors.
And then lastly, next chapter, what lies ahead for Nthato?
Next chapter, which is something that I'm really, really, really enjoying right now. I'm into films. And I feel that films, that's where the money is. And there's not a lot of us because the young ones now, our influencers are kicking our butts, but I love it because I like to know what makes them tickle, Remember I said to you, I study what makes brands tickle, what makes them who they are, you know? I study how they become those brands, those bigger brands. So even these young ones, I always study them and say, what makes the industry love them? Because not everything that they're doing, everything that they're doing, it's wrong. But there must be something right that they're doing. But it's because the industry is in this moment.
Yes, yeah.
So right now, I said, let me shift and spin the coin and be in the movie industry. And I've been in the movie industry, it's about 5 years right now. But I still do my everyday thing, high fashion, which is my first love. I still do my advertising, everything, celebrity work. And in my movie fraternity, at least I've been awarded, and that's the most awards that I've gotten, more than in my fashion industry. Yeah. So I think I'm enjoying the movies, but it's a lot of work because there's money that you have to deal with. You are a head of the department. You need to make sure that you know your mathematics. You need to know you are responsible for people. You've got a staff. You're a head of a department. People are under you. People come with sort of dramas with, the taxi. Hey, I didn't have money. Hey, this and whatever.
Yeah.
You need to know how to own your own. But because of my brand, it's a brand that I've built it my own. But yes, there are people that I like to acknowledge, like Yoba Setsana and Maggie Bayers, who was the owner of the salon in Alex. Those are the two women that I like to salute, because they held my hand and they taught me about the power of money and saving. That's another thing that in our industry we don't save. Thanks God that I'm a happily, sensitively saver.
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I've been saving for a long time. Even when there are those rain days, the doors are not being open when I knock, but I know that I could go to the saving pot, but I diversify as well, because sometimes I go to where it's like voluntary, where it's like high risk, whatever. I put my coins there so that I know when the days are down, what do I do?
Yeah. Nthato, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us today. Been a pleasure just hearing more about your story, some of your successes, some of the downtimes. It's really been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
If you've enjoyed our conversation with Nthato, make sure that you like and you make sure that you put a comment down there. We'd like to hear which part of the conversation you enjoyed and what you could resonate with. And make sure that you tell others about the success rate. Make sure you subscribe as well and share today's episode.